almost every model you've ever downloaded from Hugging Face was a lie of omission. The full-fat 16-bit version of that brain is typically 2 to 4 times bigger than the file you actually grabbed. It runs on your card at all thanks to one trick: quantization. Round the numbers, shrink the brain, hope nobody notices. Today we ride the elevator all the way down, 8-bit, 4-bit, 3, 2, 1, with measured numbers at every floor, until we find exactly where the magic ends and the lobotomy begins. Spoiler: the elevator does not go all the way down. Buckle up. First, what your NVIDIA card is actually doing. A model is billions of numbers called weights, each stored at 16-bit precision. An 8 billion parameter model is 16 gigabytes before you even say hello, too big for a 12 gig card. Quantization rounds every weight down to 8 bits, or 4. Same brain, blurrier numbers. At Q8 you're half the size and effectively lossless. At Q4, the community default, you're roughly a quarter the size, just under 5 gigs, and suddenly that model runs on the card you already own. VRAM is the entire game in local AI, and quantization is how everybody cheats at it. When Ollama pulls a model, you're silently handed Q4KM, the GGUF format's 4-bit sweet spot and still the default of 2026. Around it swims a whole alphabet. K-quants for speed. I-quants, which squeeze better quality per bit below 4. Unsloth's dynamic quants, which grade every layer individually and protect the important ones. A WQ won the 4-bit serving war for the VLLM crowd. EXL3, the enthusiast option, claims a 70B stays coherent at 1.6 bits, allegedly. Google now trains Gemma with 4-bit baked in, and this spring Llama.cpp added NVFP4 for Blackwell cards. Deep soup, but the defaults are genuinely fine. Now the measured cliff. A January 2026 study ran 13 quants of Llama 3.18B through 5 benchmarks. Full precision averaged 69.5. Q8, 69.4. Q4KM, 69.2, less than 0.5% lost at under a third of the size. Q50 actually edged out full precision, almost certainly noise, but it tells you how little 5 bits costs. Then the floor gives way. Q3KS drops 4 points overall and 9.3 points on grade school math. Math always dies first. Casual chat barely notices. One more gem, 3 different 5-bit quants posted identical perplexity scores, then landed 3.4 points apart on math. Perplexity charts are a vibe. Task benchmarks are the truth. What 4-bit buys you, card by card? A 5090 with 32 gigs runs the hot 27B class at 5 or 6-bit with room to breathe, but a 70B still only squeezes on at 3-bit. 24 gigs is the sweet spot of 2026, the whole 27 to 35B class at Q4. 16 gigs is the awkward middle child. 12 gigs, like the 2 cards rendering this very video, runs 8 to 14B at Q4 beautifully. But remember the hidden second bill: context. Filling 128,000 tokens of context on an older 8B costs 16 extra gigabytes of KV cache. The file size is the entry fee, not the whole ticket. Below 3 bits, the horror show begins. When DeepSeek R1 got naively crushed to 1.58 bits, it wrote Pygames forever. One tester's 1.6-bit build of DeepSeek's newest Flash model loops the same way. The science is just as brutal. Llama 3 8B crushed to 2 bits scored as low as 34.9% on reasoning tests, where full precision scored 68.6. Half its brain gone. Even the man who wrote Llama.cpp's 1-bit format calls it, quote, not really useful. He built it to spite the hype. And BitNet, the real 1.58-bit technology, it must be trained ternary from birth, and nothing bigger than a few billion parameters exists. The famous 100B BitNet on a CPU is a README fantasy about a model nobody has trained. Unsloth found the loophole, though. Don't crush evenly. Keep the attention layers at 4 to 6 bits and the routing layers at full precision. The brainstem stays intact, and crush only the fat expert layers. On DeepSeek's giant mixture of experts model, their 2-bit dynamic build kept 92% of its coding score while cutting the size by more than 60%, And even the 1-bit build still beat GPT 4.1. The fine print, this trick needs a huge MOE to work. Small models degrade brutally, an 8B crushed to 2-bit will usually lose to a 4B kept at 4-bit. And here's the twist the papers found: the more a model was trained, the worse it quantizes. The denser the brain, the less fat there is to cut. So where does the dial stop? 4-bit is the floor for real work. Q4K or better gets you 90+% of the brain at a third of the size, the closest thing to a free lunch in local AI. 3-bit is for emergencies, and pick the M variant, not the S. That one letter is nearly a 5-point cliff on math. 2-bit is chat-only desperation, defensible on giant MOEs with dynamic quants, a lobotomy on anything small. 1-bit is a party trick. And burn this into memory. Nearly every headline benchmark number, the ones on the model card and the leaderboard, was measured on the full precision model, the one you are not running. This has been Off the Cloud, where we tell you what actually runs, at what speed, on hardware with a name. Stay local, stay skeptical.